welcome. You're watching the News Hour Agenda. I'm Padmaja Joshi. As Afghanistan fell into the hands of Taliban and India was evacuating those who fled the terror regime, repeated advisories were issued to Indian nationals in the country. All those who wanted to get out, all those who wanted to put as much distance as possible between them and the repressive Taliban regime were brought to India. In addition to that, dozens of Afghan citizens also found refuge in the country, including several Afghan lawmakers. But now, within our own country, India is being faulted for its humanitarian gesture. Many are saying it's discriminatory. Others even likening it to the CEA by the back door. Why? Before we get to the answer of that question, let's take a look at what the MEA actually said. Now remember, the MEA has put up an evacuation helpline. It has made a special visa for everyone who wants to get out. It's an emergency visa and anyone can apply. Afghan citizens, Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, what have you. Anyone can apply. The applications will be scrutinized and then the visas will be granted. Those people can fly out. The MEA yesterday said that the Indian government is in constant touch with members of the Afghan and Sikh communities and will also facilitate the repatriation of those who wish to leave Afghanistan. Incidentally, India went out of its way to assert that there have been a number of Afghans who have been our partners in promotion of mutual development and India will stand by them. Mind you, there are hundreds and hundreds of Afghan assets of the United States who've just been deserted, left to fend for themselves. India, on the other hand, said, we will stand by our friends in Afghanistan. This, by the way, was also a stand reasserted today by the Prime Minister in a meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security that concluded just a while ago. There he made it a point to assert that our friends should be taken care of in Afghanistan and that minorities like the Hindus and Sikhs should be protected and given refuge. And that's it. That's all that was needed to start a firestorm of criticism and outrage. There were those in our country who insisted that this showed the discriminatory face of the Indian government, if not the face of India as a whole. What they fail to understand, however, is that while all Indians will be repatriated, India has reached out to religious minorities as a humanitarian gesture, realizing the persecution that they have faced in the past and that they will face even more now that an Islamic government and Islamic caliphate has been imposed on the country. Why is a communal color being given to a humanitarian effort? Or is this a desperate attempt to create a false equivalence with what can't be denied or ignored anymore? A radical Islamist state in all its ugliness in our neighborhood.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us along with Sai Deepak, advocate Anurag Bhadoria, national spokesperson of Samajwadi Party, Syed Aslam, spokesperson of the JDS. My first question is to you, leader of the Congress, Qamar Zaman Chaudhary, because I don't want you to feel that democracy is in danger, sir. What is the problem?
When you talk of democracy, my heart goes out to the Afghans who are facing sheer short discrimination and maybe execution at many might face at the hands of the Taliban. But then the point here is that the world's oldest democracy has destroyed Afghanistan and the largest democracy has started to see the refugees of Afghanistan or the persecuted people of Afghanistan in terms of their religion. That's the very sad part for a democratic country to distinguish between this on the lines of religion. That's where the entire debate starts and the buck stops at the government of the day in India, whether to help people in distress or not, or whether to leave them at the mercy of the Taliban. We have seen and we have developed a lot of free thinker Afghans in India right now. We have educated them. We have made them masters of their own destiny over the last few years. That credit goes to the people of India, the government, whoever was there at the center, and Afghans all over the world. They praise India for this. But then sudden gesture of the government of India day before yesterday when they issued the statement that we'll be airlifting only Hindus and the Sikhs from that. Of course, they are our brothers.
Now
We
let's
need
take
to
this
lift
one
them
by
up.
one. Although before
But
I let
that
Sanju
is
Verma
still
respond to
done.
that, I have to say it's quite remarkable the amount of faith that you place in the current government, Mr. Chaudhary, that you want the buck, not just for what happens in India to stop with them, but the buck for what happens in Afghanistan. So tomorrow, God forbid, something was to happen in Afghanistan, you're like, Mr. Modi is responsible for what's happening, but that's okay. There's an inordinate amount of faith, but that's okay. That's charming also. Sanju Verma.
Manmohan Singh did this policy. Vajpayee ji was there.
One by one, please. So you've asked your question. Let Sanju Verma answer. Go on.
All the
Thank you, Padmaja. Padmaja, I think, there are a few important things that need to be highlighted here. A, the Modi government has, in a remarkable show of sensitivity, compassion, and generosity. Forget the politics of it. Forget the strategic part of it. Purely from a humanitarian standpoint, I think this government needs to be applauded, cutting across ideological and political lines, because more than 120 people have been evacuated, and things have certainly not been easy if the visuals across television screens, on the globe are anything to go by. Point number two, for everybody who's saying that the Modi government is sidelining Muslims and only trying to give refuge to Hindus and Sikhs, I think that is absolutely false. We've reached out to everybody. There is a NEA helpdesk@gmail.com, email. Anybody can reach out on that.
Madam Sanju Verma, you are not in tune with the facts of Afghanistan, madam. The basic fact remains that there was a deal last year between the American government and the Taliban. But where was the evacuation plan of the Indian government, ma'am?
I think this is unfair, Padmaja.
No, it's okay. Go on. Finish your point. Finish your point. No, let's not have crosstalk. Go on.
I think, without saying much, I will just say one thing. What does the CAA say? It simply says that those who were persecuted minorities in Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh, primarily Hindus, Sikhs, Christians, Parsis, Jains, Buddhists, they will be given citizenship. And how? Instead of having the residency requirement for naturalization at 12 years, now for these people that have been fast-tracked to 6 years.
Okay.
So nobody is saying that CAA has been, formed to discriminate against Muslims. If you're a Muslim,
Okay, let's just leave CAA out for a bit, because considering it hasn't even been notified, let's stick to the present debate.
10 seconds. Padmaja, just 10 seconds, please.
Okay, 10 seconds. Finish your point.
Okay. Padmaja, all I'm saying is, if you are feeling that you're a persecuted Muslim in an Islamic country, you can still apply to India under the existing citizenship rules. So there's nothing that stops you from being a naturalized citizen of India. But in that case, the residency requirement will be 12 years. That's all. For the other persecuted minorities in Islamic countries, it's been fast-tracked to 6 years. So don't link this humanitarian gesture of Modi government with religious divide, because
Mr.
that's
Chaudhary,
undermining the humongous effort.
and where is the religious divide? Let's make the distinction between repatriation of Indian citizens, who I would rather not see as Indian Muslims or Indian Hindus or Indian Jains. All Indians, Mr. Chaudhary, will be repatriated. When it comes to Afghans, the government says that there are persecuted minorities and we will give them refuge. Whereas the other Afghans, we will help them. Now again I ask you, what is your problem?
No, the problem out here is, ma'am, as per the data that is available across all forums, there are around 4,000 Hindus and Sikhs in Afghanistan. When you know that the condition of Afghanistan is going to be very fragile, there was already... Let me finish, please.
No crosstalk from either side. Yes.
Don't block my flow.
Finish your point, yes.
Yeah. The point here is that when the Indian government had, as per sources, secret talks with Taliban in Doha, that means there was some inclination that American government is going to pull its troops from Afghanistan. That time, where was the evacuation plan, madam? Now, all
Sir,
of
what
our
is your
Indian
problem now?
professional
Now,
systems,
from
whichever
the
religion they are in.
discrimination, you have jumped to lack of prior planning. Are you suggesting that India should give refuge to
These
all
are
Afghans,
the troops.
in addition to repatriating its own people?
Acha, Padmaja, have we not given refuge to the earlier time when Taliban was ruling? Did we not give refuge to the Afghan citizens in earlier times also? Now, what was the point in bringing Hindus and Sikhs? Whoever was willing to come to India, you give prioritize to the Indian citizens. Then you say, okay, persecuted artists are there, cinematographers are there, filmmakers are there, journalists are there. You can prioritize them and pull them up here in India. Why bring the religion out here?
Okay,
This
why
is
bring the
just
religion? Sai Deepak.
opportunity
Make
that
it
I
only
want-
about persecution, not about religion. Sai Deepak.
No, I don't think such a simplistic approach is possible. There are security considerations. Perhaps we can play this game of political correctness for the sake of brownie points on television and other places. But I think the security agencies must certainly take into account the ramifications of bringing in everybody here. And as far as India is concerned, the discussion with respect to Hindus and Sikhs is something that we have had even during the course of the Constituent Assembly debate. I don't think it should be limited only to Pakistan. It must certainly extend to Afghanistan as well, because at the end of the day, this country is the national homeland for certain communities, given that their entire consciousness originates from this country. And given Europe's experience with the refugee crisis from Syria is a lesson for everybody to understand and understand what is exactly happening in several parts of the world, I don't think Bharat should wallow in this squeamish nonsense. It must certainly extend material aid to every person and every country as long as it's possible within its resources. But in terms of who can come here, security considerations and other considerations must reign supreme. That's the only position that I would want to take. There's no need for a discussion on the CA as far as this particular issue is concerned.
Mr. Pasha, it's a country's prerogative. Let's be very clear about it. All of our citizens have the right and the legitimate right to demand of their government, bring us back. But when it comes to granting refuge, it's the country's prerogative.
Well, absolutely, Padmaja, I agree with you. However, in this humanitarian crisis, the response to the crisis, it cannot be dependent on the religion. Okay? Yes, of course, if you're giving refuge, you cannot have a special mention for Hindus and Sikhs. Okay? It is a
Sir, of
humanitarian
course, it
crisis.
depends on how
And I
much
make
of a
it
danger
clear.
are you in
Padmaja,
of
let
being
me finish.
persecuted.
Give me 30
Do you
seconds.
know that the spokesperson of the Taliban, who we've decided to not give a platform, half an hour ago concluded a press conference where he said that women in our country will be very happy as long as they stay happy within the Sharia. And you are expecting that Hindus and Sikhs, the minorities in that country, are going to be treated at par with the other?
logic given,
The Taliban is today saying we are, will be and have been a Muslim country, period.
Right.
What do you
Right,
expect
let
the
me-
religious
let-
minorities to do there?
Allow me to speak now.
And to
Padmaja,
India to say, oh, everyone's going to be equal, because the
Padmaja,
Taliban is
the
saying
law-
we are a Muslim country and you will be happy as long as you practice Islam,
Padmaja-
but then everyone is the same.
Padmaja, the logic and justification given in CA why Muslims are excluded from this is that there'll be no persecution on Muslims.
Sir,
But
leave
look
the
at today's
CAA.
situation.
I'm asking you a
Look at
simple
today's
question.
situation.
That today,
Look at
if a
today's
country is
situation.
saying that
Look
you
at
will be
today's
happy
situation.
as long
The
as
law
you
and
are a
order is
Muslim
deteriorated.
in
Please
this
allow me to
country,
respond to that.
are you seriously
Please allow
saying
me to respond to
Muslims
that.
and others are at the same level in that country?
Yes, of course. That
Please
is
allow me to
exactly the
respond to that.
reason.
Sai Deepak,
That is
I mean, this
exactly
beggars the
reason.
imagination.
I mean, honestly, I think this is a strawman argument. Allow me to just respond for 30 seconds.
You had a
So the first point is that in the Islamic Caliphate of Afghanistan today, the position of all religions is not the same. Non-Muslim communities are not at par with Muslims. Insofar as the treatment of other Muslims by Taliban is concerned, it must be treated as a civil war within the community. But as far as non-Muslim communities are concerned, it is persecution of religious minorities. Therefore, this argument that religion should not be brought into this picture is downright illogical. I'm sorry to say it is hypocritical. The fact of the matter is the population of Hindu and Sikh communities has consistently come down. And it's not just because of Taliban's rise. Even before that, it has come down. Therefore, I'm sorry to say you cannot equate those people who are fighting their own people as far as religion is concerned and who are persecuted because of a civil war, with those people who are actually treated as infidels, heathen, kafir and whatnot. The treatment is
And who
not
are
the same.
marked out for persecution. Who are marked out for persecution. If there will be an Afghan Muslim who is persecuted, it's because perhaps he or she will be thought of as an ally of the West or an ally of India. Whereas a Hindu or a Sikh will be picked out because they are Hindus and Sikhs, not because they are Indian allies or American allies, sir. And if you don't believe me, just a second, if you don't believe me, sir, and if you really think that Hindus, Sikhs and Muslims are the same in Afghanistan as of today, let's put on screen for you the data for how the Sikh population, leave aside Hindus because Hindus are all supremacists according to you. According to data of the UN, you've had of Afghan media, pardon me, the population of Sikhs in the 1980s was 220,000. In the 1990s, that's when the Taliban first came into power, it dropped to 15,000. Then it dropped to 1,350 Hindus and Sikhs. And as of today, there are 650 Sikhs and 50 Hindus remaining. And you are saying that everyone is at par.
Padmaja, definitely no one is disputing the fact that they should be given refuge. Everyone should be given refuge in India.
Everyone should take refuge. And stay where?
Religion. You cannot be discriminated with religion.
Everyone should take refuge where?
Not persecuted. The question is, are you telling me that Muslims are not persecuted in Afghanistan today in the Taliban regime?
Sai Deepak, just a second. Sai Deepak respond, then Sanju Verma. Everyone should take refuge. Sai Deepak.
If religion is the basis of persecution, religion should certainly form the basis for any kind of refuge. And secondly, this gentleman has absolutely no idea about what the Constitution says. The Constitution is very clear that when it comes to giving rights of ingress and egress inside the country, it is the union government's sole prerogative to decide. Therefore, the government certainly has the right to take into account any security aspects, any security fallouts that may come as a consequence of taking in non-Indic communities. There I say non-Dharmic communities. If they enter this country, I'm sorry to say, we will see Rajputization of the rest of the country, and this is not permissible under any circumstances. I have the right to look out for my country's future.
Okay, Sanju Verma, I heard a lot of people since morning talking about Vasudev Kutumbakam, the world is one, open your borders, the lotus shall bloom, Buddha shall reign, you know, the third eye has opened, everyone must find refuge. Why are you leaving out people who are in misery right now? Everyone should find refuge.
You know, Padmaja, as you rightly said, even till the late 1970s, there were 7 lakh Hindus and Sikhs in Afghanistan, and today that number is down to barely 700 odd. In Karachi, prior to partition, 14% population was Hindus. Today it's less than 2%. The very lot today who is saying that let's accommodate every persecuted Muslim from Afghanistan, this lot has never bothered to even squeak about the desecration of the Bamiyan Buddhas. They have not today spoken out against the vandalization of Ranjit Singh's statue in Lahore. This is the same lot which will talk about Rohingya Muslims being given shelter, but has never spoken in support of Kashmiri Pandits who were forced to flee out of their own homes in 1990. This is the same lot which will hail Imran Khan, but has never bothered to call out the bluff of ISI-sponsored Haqqani network, ISI-sponsored and Pakistani-created Taliban, which is a terror organization which some of these so-called pseudo-liberals hail as freedom fighters.
Okay.
And I just want to add to that, 20 seconds, Padmaja. Let me tell you that at the height of COVID crisis, I have data from the Aviation Ministry. Till 24th July 2021, from 100 countries, we had 88,000 inbound flights, 87,600 outbound flights, and more than 71 lakh people were evacuated, cutting across demographic and religious divides. Do you remember 2016 Operation Rahat? We rescued more than 4,000 people.
So you're saying that the humanitarian gesture extends to all, but the protection that a country grants will be to those who it thinks will face persecution. Anurag Bhadoria.
मुझे तो संजू वर्मा ने क्या बोला, अगर आपके समझ में आया तो आप भी बता दीजिए कि संजू वर्मा क्या कह रही थी। देखिए, इस समय हिंदुस्तानी अगर अफगानिस्तान में फंसे हैं, ये जिम्मेदारी सरकार की बनती है सारे हिंदुस्तानियों को जो परेशान हैं, फंसे हैं, उनको सेफली इंडिया लेके आना। अगर वहां पे है तो उन्हें सुरक्षा मुहैया कराना और जितनी जल्दी हो सके उनको सुरक्षित इंडिया वापस लेके आना। अगर सरकार उनको सुरक्षा के लिए प्रॉमिस भी कर रही है वहां पे, अगर पहले ये तय कर ले कि हमारे देश की जो सरकार उसको रिकॉग्नाइज कर रही है कि नहीं कर रही है, हम आपस में क्यों लड़ रहे हैं?
अरे
हम आपस में क्यों लड़ रहे हैं?
अनुराग जी, मैंने आधी रामायण सुना दी, उसके बाद आप पूछ रहे हैं कि सीता कौन थी। सारे इंडियंस वापस आ रहे हैं, सारे इंडियंस वापस आ रहे हैं।
वही अरे मुझे बोलने तो दीजिए।
सारे इंडियंस वापस आ रहे हैं, डजंट मैटर उनका रिलीजन क्या है।
तो यही हमारी प्राथमिकता होनी चाहिए कि हमारे इंडियंस को वापस लाना।
अरे तो यही तो प्राथमिकता है।
लेकिन चूंकि संजू वर्मा क्या कह रही है उनको खुद नहीं पता है। मैं उनसे पूछना चाहता हूं हमारी प्राथमिकता क्या है, सरकार की प्रायोरिटी क्या है? सरकार की प्रायोरिटी होनी चाहिए हमारे हिंदुस्तानी सेफली वापस आ जाएं, लेकिन आप उसमें बहस दूसरी तरफ ले जाने लगे। ये पाकिस्तान और अफगानिस्तान और
अरे नहीं अनुराग जी, सारी डिबेट ही यही हो रही है कि सारे इंडियंस को वापस ला रही है भारतीय सरकार। अब भारत की सरकार से ये कहा जा रहा है कि आप इंडियंस तो छोड़िए, आपने कमर जमान चौधरी के ओपनिंग कमेंट्स नहीं सुने, वो तो इसलिए इतने डिसअपॉइंटेड है इंडियन गवर्नमेंट से। वो कह रहे हैं आप इंडियंस तो इंडियंस, आप अफगान्स को भी लेके आइए सारे।
नहीं, पहले ये तो पूछ लीजिए कि केंद्र सरकार ने क्या तय किया? क्या केंद्र सरकार ने जो वहां पे तालिबानी सरकार बनी है क्या उसको एक्सेप्ट कर लिया? पहले सरकार बताए कि सरकार ने क्या, हमारे देश ने क्या उनको रिकॉग्नाइज किया?
अभी रिकॉग्निशन की बात किधर से आ गई? अभी तो हम इवैक्यूएशन पे रुके हुए हैं, आप रिकॉग्निशन पे पहुंच गए। अनुराग जी, मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है कि पिछले 15 मिनट में आपने सबकी बातें सुन करके ये रियलाइज किया कि आपका जो विकेट है थोड़ा सा वीक है, तो आप इधर उधर अलग अलग दिशाओं में जा रहे हैं।
अरे क्यों अलग अलग दिशा में जा रहे हैं भाई? हम तो कह रहे हैं कि
क्योंकि डिबेट तो ये है ही नहीं ना।
अलग क्यों इसमें? मेरे समझ में नहीं आया। हमारे हिंदुस्तानी हमारे सेफली वापस आने चाहिए, इसमें अलग अलग क्या है? अगर आपके मन में कोई चोर है तो बता दीजिए आप। हम तो हिंदुस्तानी की बात कर रहे हैं। अगर
चलिए आप खुश है ना, तो यानी कि अभी तक जो एफर्ट्स हो रहे हैं उससे आप सेटिस्फाइड है, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत साफ साफ बोल दिया है ईच एंड एवरी इंडियन सिटीजन विल बी ब्रॉट बैक। वी अर्ज ऑल इंडियन सिटीजंस टू इमीडिएटली रजिस्टर with our embassy, and by the way, even though our Indian staff is back, our embassy is still functioning, visas are being given, sir, to ensure that no man is left behind, as opposed to what a lot of other superpowers have done. They have left behind their Afghan assets. We are saying कि हम अपने अफगान दोस्तों को भी लेकर के आएंगे. And just by the way, Qamar Zaman Chaudhary, since you are talking about religious persecution and how we are differentiating between Afghans on the basis of their religion, let me tell you the names of the Hindu supremacist or names of the people this Hindu supremacist government has got back into Delhi. Wahidullah Kalimazi, he is an MP from Wardak. Abdul Aziz Hakimi, MP from Parwan. Abdul Qadir Zazai, सेनेटर मालेम लाला गुल, जमील करजाई, बागलान के एमपी हैं शुक्रिया ऐसा खेल, मोहम्मद खान सेनेटर हैं, अब्दुल हादी अरगंदी वाल फॉर्मर फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर हैं, और एक जिनकी मैं बात आपको सुनाना चाहती हूं एमपी हैं वो मरियम सोलेमान खैल। ये सारी हिंदू सुप्रीमेसिस्ट सरकार इन सब अफगान को वापस इंडिया लेकर के आई है, दिल्ली में वो लैंड किए। मरियम जी की बात मैं आपको सुनाना चाहती हूं, कमर जमान चौधरी।
I can't believe the world abandoned Afghanistan. Our friends are going to get killed. They're going to kill us. Our women are not going to have any more rights. And that's all.
Mr. Chaudhary, the world abandoned Afghanistan. The world. And India is the one who flew this lady into Delhi. 24 hours of the Taliban takeover.
Is the first lady to come to India from Afghanistan, persecuted Afghans, Muslim Afghans, rather as you wanted to hear it. We have been doing this humanitarian service from long back ago, from the first time that the Taliban invaded Afghanistan. We have done it. We have invested so much in Afghanistan.
And we are still doing it. Then what's the problem?
Few years.
And we are still doing it. What's the problem? But it's the country's discretion.
Padmaja, the main problem that is here is in the rhetorics of this government when it says that we need to evacuate only the Hindus and
it doesn't say that anywhere. It doesn't say that anywhere. No. That is total misquoting. The government doesn't say that anywhere. Let me actually quote to you verbatim what the government has said, sir. Not at all. Let me quote to you verbatim what the MEA has said. In constant touch with representatives of Afghan, Sikh and Hindu communities, we will facilitate repatriation to India of those who wish to leave Afghanistan. Number of Afghans who've been our partners in promotion of mutual development, we will stand by our Afghan partners. It says, 1, all Indians will be repatriated irrespective of religion. 2, we stand by our Afghan partners irrespective of religion. 3, we will reach out to our minorities in Afghanistan, which is Hindus and Sikhs. So basically what is really rankling you, Mr. Chaudhary, is that why did you reach out to the minorities, isn't it? India is not saying that we will not evacuate people irrespective of the religion. You are upset. Why did they say we will evacuate minorities?
I have no problem absolutely in evacuating Hindus and Sikh from Afghanistan. That is a foregone conclusion, but why issue a statement in the name of religion? Can we differentiate any refugee? You see on the tarmac of Afghanistan on the Kabul airport, can you identify them on the basis of their religion? All of them are desperate to get out of Afghanistan. Canada has
so the language is a problem. The language is a problem. Sanju Verma. Again, it comes to the equivalence. You should have had the equivalence which Mr. Chaudhary wants to draw. Sanju Verma.
Padmaja.
Yes, Sanju Verma.
Padmaja, this whole narrative about the Modi government persecuting minorities, not allowing Muslims to return, the fact that it is hogwash has been completely nailed by you by giving specific names and data. The more important point and the larger point is this, that whenever there is a global crisis, I repeat, when there was a crisis in Yemen, 4,000 people from across 48 countries under Operation Rahat were evacuated by the Modi government. When there was trouble in Iraq, 7,000 Indians were evacuated. 4,000 to 5,000 nurses were evacuated from Ukraine and Syria. There were 600 children who were evacuated from war-torn countries between 2016 and 2017.
Talking about evacuation during COVID, evacuation during Gulf War. This is Modi government did too. We evacuated lakhs of people from Iraq and Kuwait during the Gulf War. Madam, I believe we were mature enough to understand what happened during Gulf War. That is not the issue out here. You try to bring out an opportunity that presents itself to you to cater to your
do you have the audacity to condemn what happened
in India?
To the
That's it.
Ranjit Singh
That's your
statue in
only
Lahore?
logic out here.
Okay. The funny thing is, Mr. Chaudhary, while there are all these concerns that you have about the Indian government, right down to the, to the crossing of the T's and the dotting of the I's, and why did you use this word and not that word? By the way, so far, I haven't heard of any unequivocal condemnation of the Taliban itself and of the kind of ideology that they stand for, and that today we have a state in our neighborhood which is saying we are an Islamic country and you can live in this country and be happy as long as you follow the Sharia. Do you think that is acceptable to you in the 21st century, Mr. Qamar Zaman Chaudhary?
Let me come you, Padmaja. Let me be very honest in this. I, being a practicing Muslim, the interpretation of Islam by the Taliban is far different from the interpretation of Islam, according to me, according to crores of Muslim Indians that we are living in India, or for that matter, many Islamic countries who they call themselves across the world. Thus, the interpretation of Islam on the basis of Sharia is not Islam.
I see.
There are other books also of the holies of the Islam which needs to be interpreted along with the Sharia.
I have to say, just as an outsider, just as an observer, for somebody who was so particular about the language and the grammar of our MEA statement, you seem to be awfully generous when it comes to the Taliban. It's not about their ideology, it's their interpretation. All right, so maybe they need to get better interpreters before more people get killed and before more women get whipped and married off. Mr. Anurag Bhadoria, I want to bring you back in because the argument also being given. Just a second. Sai Deepak also wants to respond to you, but before that, I want to get in Mr. Bhadoria again. Abhi yahan par bola ja raha tha ki India should give refuge to everyone. Open borders. Vasudev Kutumbakam. Let me quote to you what Pakistan's Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi said during a visit to Tajikistan. He said, We are a country of limited resources. We already have 1 million refugees from Afghanistan. We cannot be expected to do any more. He goes on to say, we cannot afford to welcome more refugees if the situation in Afghanistan deteriorates again. Followed this up by Pakistan shut its 2 main border crossings with Afghanistan last week, sir, saying that more than 700,000 Afghans can enter, so they shut their borders. They sealed it. Now let me tell you what other countries have done. Tajikistan's president, Emomali Rahmon, he ordered the mobilization of 20,000 soldiers to close its border with Afghanistan. Then, let me tell you what Turkey is doing. Turkey went even a step further and they actually built a 5-kilometer long wall so that no refugee from Afghanistan should come in. So it would be very well that instead of lecturing India, who is happily saying we will help our Afghan partners, perhaps a word could be spared for all of these countries who have literally built walls to keep desperate Afghans out. अनुराग भदौरिया,
एक बात तो आपको मान के चलना पड़ेगा, जहां रेडिकल एंड एक्सट्रीमिस्ट आते हैं उस देश का विकास रुकता है। अगर आपने देखा हुआ 1980 से 90 तक वहां पे सोशलिस्ट थे या समाजवाद का मूवमेंट था, वहां पे तो अफगानिस्तान का विकास हो रहा था। 90 के बाद से वहां पे मुजाहिदीन आए और तालिबानी आए तो अफगान का विकास रुका। तो इसलिए कहते हैं किसी भी कंट्री के अंदर में जहां एक्सट्रीमिस्ट होंगे, जहां पे कट्टरपंथी होंगे, जहां पे इस तरह के जो चरमपंथी आते हैं, वहां देश का विकास रुकता है। जहां समाजवादी कल्चर होता है, जहां समाजवादी विचारधारा होती है, उसी देश का विकास होता है। आज हमारे देश के अंदर में ज्यादातर लोग समाजवादी विचारधारा से हैं और समाजवादी विचारधारा हमेशा कहता है कि हमें अपने एक समाज के सभी लोगों को
आप मानते हैं कि तालिबान कट्टरपंथी हैं? आप मानते हैं तालिबान इस्लामी कट्टरपंथी हैं?
मैंने आपसे क्या बोला, किसी भी देश के अंदर एक्सट्रीम जहां पे एक्सट्रीमिस्ट होंगे,
नहीं, पर क्या तालिबान एक्सट्रीमिस्ट हैं?
अरे भाई, जब उनको वो तो पता चलेगा, अभी उनकी पॉलिसी क्या होगी आपको पता चलेगा। सरकार
आपको पॉलिसी पता नहीं चल रही है?
अरे क्यों, हमारा देश अभी तय करेगा, हिंदुस्तान तय करेगा, अनुराग भदौरिया तय नहीं करेगा, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट तय करेगा।
मैं तो आपके विचार जान रही हूँ कि आपको लगता है कि एक पार्टी जो कि कह रही है कि हमारा इस्लामिक रिपब्लिक है, क्या वो कट्टरपंथी है कि नहीं?
तो मैंने आपसे
कि महिलाएं तभी रह सकती हैं जब वो हमारे रूल्स फॉलो करें।
मैंने आपसे क्या बोला, जहां भी एक्सट्रीमिस्ट होंगे, जहां पे रेडिकल्स होंगे, किसी भी कंट्री में, चाहे वो अफगानिस्तान हो या पाकिस्तान हो, बांग्लादेश हो या कोई भी कंट्री हो, उस कंट्री के अंदर में विकास नहीं हो सकता। विकास हमेशा समाजवाद के रास्ते से होता है। जहां समाजवाद का रास्ता होगा, विकास वहीं से निकलता है। ये आप याद करके रखिए। दूसरा, ये हमारी पॉलिसी क्या होगी, हमारी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट डिसाइड करेगी। क्या सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट जो, भाई हमारे बीजेपी से मतभेद हो सकते हैं, लेकिन जब हमारी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एक फैसला लेगी कि नहीं, हमें तालिबान को अगर वो गवर्नमेंट मानती है तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट डिसाइड करेगी।
चलिए, आज दो चीजें हमने सीखी कि अभी तक कई लोग ये डिसाइड नहीं कर पाए हैं whether the Taliban are truly a radical organization, a hardliner and Islamist hardliner organization or not. They're still sitting on the fence. They're still waiting to see, how these things pan out, because very often democracy is very confusing. You could be holding a gun, but you're also a Democrat at heart. And second, that Afghanistan was at its best when they had Samajwad or socialism in place. I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, all gentlemen, Sanju Verma, for joining us. But one thing is for sure, that things in Afghanistan require the world to take note. India is doing its bit. And if in doing its bit, we leave our politics out, perhaps we'll be doing the people of Afghanistan a favor. Quick break.